Let's do it. Welcome. It is I, Sigma, your host of The Sigma Show. Episode 30 is what we're back here for. I said to these guys before we started, I was going to forget how to do the intro. And true to my word, I'm pretty sure that's not how these intros tend to go. But it has been a while. We've been gone for like 3 weeks or so. But before I get into who's joining me, real quick, we'll go over the topics that we'll be discussing today. First up, a new Transformers movie is on the way. It is going to be based on the Beast Wars property, which is very popular in the 90s. So we will have some things to say about that, especially given the history of Transformers in general, Transformers movies in general. Second after that would be Microsoft essentially trying to dive into the native cloud games arena. This is something that Google Stadia touted when they initially released, but have since kind of abandoned all hope on, and Microsoft essentially is picking up the torch. We'll talk about what that means. And finally, the main reason why I've been gone for 3 weeks is because E3 was this month. The gentlemen who are joining me covered a lot of that stuff, and we'll be kind of recapping some of our favorites and not so favorites at the end of the show. But to do just that, I'm joined today by Rexicon Jesse.
That's me. Hey, everybody.
As well as Mick Biggity, Marty Sleva.
Hello, everybody. Casey, thank you so much for having me.
No problem. I've been hoping to get you on the show at some point. I was excited when you said, sure, I'll do it. Was a little concerned about the money you asked for, but we'll do
that's
that.
True. Yeah, that's true. It was, but I wanted it all in doubloons, so there's just a big chest of doubloons around.
So there is a pirate trip scheduled in the future, but we'll get to that later. First up, since it has been a while, I'd like to talk to you guys about what you've been playing, what you've been consuming, watching, reading, listening to, all those fun things. Would anyone like to go first? Are you burning to get some opinions off your chest in terms of just what you've been consuming?
I heard Jesse played a really good new D&D game. I heard Dark Alliance is the game that everyone's been waiting for.
They're certainly talking about it. Lots of words happening surrounding that game.
So I downloaded it onto Game Pass because it's free. And then all the reviews have been so middling that I'm like, do I even...
So you haven't even started it?
Is it worth an hour? Like, I'm not even like thinking about cost anymore. I'm thinking about like, is it worth an hour of my life? What did you think of it?
Okay, that first hour is probably one of the better ones. It makes a decent first impression, and then it's like, oh, this could really go somewhere for like another hour or two.
Mm-hmm.
Like, oh, okay, yeah. And then you realize, oh, these controls are really bad. Oh, it's not responsive. Oh, this is this whole game. It's not going to change. Oh, this is the game for 12, 13 more hours. Uh-oh.
Yeah, that's always a bummer because I get a similar feeling like if back in the before times when I would go see movies in theaters all the time, I would get a feeling during a bad one 20 minutes in. I'm like, oh, geez, like I got another hour of this. Whereas like if you start a game, especially if you're doing it for work for like a review and you're getting that feeling like 90 minutes in, you're like, oh, this is not going to be a fun weekend. Like this is just going to be a slog.
I mean, there is a level of tuning out that you can do at that point, right? Which sometimes is kind of refreshing. So it's like, I don't have to pay so much attention to what's happening because I already know I hate this.
Yeah,
but for the review purposes, you really have to catalog all the things you dislike because you have to be able to explain that and not just be like, it bad.
Well, that'd be a pretty good review. I'd read that review.
It's bad.
It bad, 4 out of 10. So that's it's funny because that sort of precipitated a discussion around Game Pass as a whole of like, do games like this like hurt or like do they hurt the value of Game Pass by putting a bad game, which seems silly to me because like, I don't know, there's a bunch of shitty movies on Netflix and that doesn't like devalue Netflix.
And a lot of those shitty movies end up as like number 1, 2, and 3 in the country for some reason.
You're like, oh, I didn't know this Adam Sandler movie exists, but 100 million people just watched it.
Yeah, so I would staunchly be on the side of it doesn't hurt Game Pass at all. Like, just put Well, let's not get crazy. Let's not put all the garbage on Game Pass because then you get oversaturation. But here and there, a few stinkers I don't think is going to hurt it too much.
I'd be fine if they launched an auxiliary app just called Trash Pass. It's just real dumpster games. And so, like, if you know what you're getting into, I feel like that's something that
isn't that like mostly the App Store for like
that's like the iOS App Store.
Apple?
Yeah,
That's true.
yeah, pretty much. Yeah, pretty much trash pass. Yeah,
I would probably sign on for that, though. It does
about
kind
to
of
say,
sound like a good time.
can't say no to trash pass.
Yeah, people already have. So,
No, exactly.
Jesse, anything else in terms of your consummation this week or the past couple of weeks?
Oh man, I mean, I've been playing the Switch since I have that now.
You did your charity stream for the Switch, which was a rousing
Hell
success.
yeah.
Congratulations. You are
Thank
now
you.
the lovely father of a young Switch.
Which I think I've got a working one now. I have to make sure. First of all, don't trust the HDMI cables Nintendo sends you. All 3 of them have died.
Oh,
Or
wow.
arrived dead on my Switch. I think I've got one that works now, but I gotta try a few more things just to make sure. Wow, it's been a nightmare. But the games have been fun. So I got to play Smash on Thursday with some people on my stream. I got to join with you and
Blue, who is in the
It was
chat,
Blue, yeah.
says, "Hey Sig, sup? How you doing, brother?"
I got to play Smash with you all and lost horribly all of those times as expected. I got to stream building my first Monster Hunter or Monsty Hunties Rise character. So I could play that with people. And my partner and I have been playing Mario Party together.
I've been thinking about getting Mario Party. Folks are giving a strong argument for me to do that with the family.
And it's fun.
With the old one or the new one?
Mario
I mean,
Mario
obviously
Party
you've
for
been
the
playing
Switch.
the one that already exists. Yeah.
Yeah. But there's only 4 maps, and I understand why people are upset about that because that is a small amount. However, I have still been having a lot of fun with it, and I can't wait to stream it with more people and play it. Like it's Mario Party. It's a fun game.
Yeah, I think I may hold out for whatever the new one is because that's supposed to have. It's kind of like
the full like online
thing, right?
play.
Yeah, it has online play and all that stuff.
Yeah,
so,
remastered versions of like the N64 maps. And
so I think I'll just wait for that one rather than jump on the one that's out now.
But how great is it to come into a new console like the Switch 3.5 years in and just have this like wealth of games? The bad thing about Nintendo is that they're all the exact same price as they were 3 years ago. Like none of them have went down in price, whereas like a PlayStation, you got all these greatest hits. But it's awesome to come to like a new console kind of relatively midway or late in the game and just be able to catch up on like cool game after cool game.
Yeah, it is really cool. And like what was the other one? Splatoon 2 and Mario Party 8. Deluxe are the other ones. It's like,
Mario Kart.
This is
Mario
Kart 8. It's like, this is really fun. And yes, I did. I think I paid $50 for 5 out of 6 of those, and then 57 for Monster Hunter. It's just price.
Yeah.
Also, they sell them used for like MSRP full price.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the thing but it's funny because on the flip side, if you go to the eShop and create a wish list, like non-first party games go on crazy sale all the time. Like you can get stuff like, I mean, granted they're older games, but like Assassin's Creed Black Flag or like the South Park RPGs, you can get them for like $4.99 all the time. So like I've loaded up on a bunch of older games and smaller games just because like I'll always be tempted if like something's under $6. I'll be like, wow, it'd be stupid not to buy it.
Even though you own it in 2 other places.
Even though I've owned it in several different locations. Yeah.
Well, I own none of those you mentioned. So I mean it's also nice to just have it portable. Like I can play it in bed before I sleep. Yeah. That's super nice.
Yeah, it was funny you even mentioning the HDMI tripped me up for a second because I've put probably 2,000 or 3,000 hours into my Switch, and I've literally never hooked it up to a TV. I've only used it as a portable.
That's crazy. Like you,
I don't even have my hands. Like I don't even have
because I don't get how that works.
I don't know. Yeah, I mean, my hands are always in pain, so I guess maybe that's something. Like that's not great. But no, again, in the before times, I used to travel. So I like how I keep calling them the before times. The mythical land of early 2020. No, I used to travel a bunch, and so like my Switch was just like the thing I had on me. And when I was home, I would just play another console. So, but yeah, Fair Switch enough. Good.
All right, does that wrap things up for you, Jesse? Or
I think so. That's mostly what I've been playing.
All right, how about you, Marty? What have you been consuming into your
couple things? Sticking with Switch, I started Super Mario Golf Super Rush.
Oh yeah, I got about an hour into that too.
Yeah, it's. I mean, Mario. I love Mario Golf, and the game is gorgeous and everything. The adventure mode's kind of like a letdown so far. It just seems very slow and very tedious, and I'm also not sure I like the whole running from shot to shot mechanic.
Okay,
which is like the core conceit of the game, but I don't know. The golf part's really fun. I still think they make really neat arcade golf games. So
yeah, I only did a 1-on-1 with Ash, who's on this podcast on a regular basis
nice.
as well. So I didn't do any of like the super fancy runny stuff. I did do some of the power shots, whatever. But like the way they show you and allow you to play golf is actually like super technical. Like I was surprised how much depth is there. Like they show you like the little grid and like the paths. Like, oh, this slope is moving at an angle. The wind is blowing at this direction.
Yeah.
Like it's really, really cool how much information they give you to let you make like cool shots and stuff. Mm-hmm. But yeah, all the arcade stuff I haven't touched yet. So you're saying that all is kind of getting in the way?
At least in the like, if you just play the the adventure mode, which is like their little RPG mode, which is not really an RPG, but and that's, I mean, the first hour has been kind of boring, but I can imagine it picking up. And also, like you said, if you just want to play against pals or just play random matches against a computer, or try to get as low of a total as you can on each course, you can just totally do that and just ignore all the adventure mode nonsense.
Okay, because it does look fun to like kind of do weird Sonic racing and bumping each other on the course.
I think it's going to get better as it goes on, because when you start the adventure mode, you have to like create a brand new Mii character, and it's like they're super weak, and their shots like they can only hit like 150 yards, and they get tired really quickly. So I imagine by the end it'll be a little bit better.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah. So I've been playing that. I'm just about to wrap up Ratchet and Clank Into the Nexus, which is lovely. That's the new Ratchet and Clank game from Insomniac.
Why did I forget that its subtitle was Into the Nexus?
Oh no, it's not. It's Rift Apart.
Okay,
I'm like,
that doesn't sound familiar at all.
Into the Nexus was like an old, I think, a PS3 one. Rift Apart. Excuse me. And so I'm wrapping that up, and that's just another banger game from Insomniac and another incredible, first party PS5 exclusive.
Congrats on getting a PS5 to play those sorts of games.
Yeah. I truly did luck out on the PS5 and the Xbox. Like how easy it was for me to just pre-order them the second they went up. So I don't know how that happened, but I'm happy about that. I don't. My uncle Jeff Bezos told me when they were going up. Jeffrey Bezos.
I say that, but also I walked into a Micro Center and bought a 3070 at MSRP. So sometimes luck happens.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
Lampy says I'm going to min-max Mario Golf, which I like. That's very funny. That's what I'm trying to do. But Ratchet and Clank, just great. Like just the incredible level of polish that you'd expect from Insomniac. And if you've liked any of the other Ratchet and Clank games, it very much follows a similar, if not refined, version of that formula. So yeah, been having a lot of fun with that. Cool. I blazed through the Final Fantasy VII Remake Integrate Yuffie DLC. Man, that was a lot of words. That's like the new PS5 exclusive episode to Final Fantasy VII Remake that kind of bridges the gap between this first part and whenever we'll get the second part.
That's part of like the new updated Final Fantasy VII Remake, right? Yeah,
and it's this. I believe this DLC is only on the PS5 version. I don't think it's on the PS4 version.
Okay.
Yeah, and not because it doesn't do anything like visually crazy compared to the original one, but I think it's just kind of to wean people off old generation, go on to the new generation. But I thought that was really neat. It was like a huge Final Fantasy VII fan of the whole Final Fantasy VII extended universe. Right. I think it's a really neat addition, and the way they're kind of like bringing in weird all the other versions of Final Fantasy VII and stuff like Crisis Core and Dirge of Cerberus and even Advent Children. So yeah, I'm curious to see where it's going to go when it finishes in 2030.
I have never played any mainline Final Fantasy. Final Fantasy VII is the one that I get the most annoyed about because of its fan base. Should I just jump into, because a lot of folks in the chat already know and have been pushing me to try to just jump into the remake. Like, should that be the first place I experience Final Fantasy VII, you think?
Like, it's hard for me to even, like, I don't even know what that game would be like if I didn't have the 25 years of like built-in nostalgia. Like, I legitimately don't know if it's a good game or not. Like, I love it, but I don't know if it's good.
Wow, okay.
I think that's how certain people are. Like, if you've been watching, like, what's like, isn't like One Piece a show that's been going on for like 20 years?
Yeah.
And there's like a million episodes. So I feel like at a certain point, you're like, well, I've devoted enough time to this. I don't know. I can't see the forest through the trees. I don't know if this is good or not, but I'm still here.
I don't know. One Piece fans are kind of the opposite. They're like, if you haven't seen the light yet, something's wrong with you.
Yeah.
Like, they don't see a problem with sticking with a 1,000 episode series. Though I am a One Piece fan. Like, I like the show. I'm not like a super fan, but I do think the show's good.
Like, but anyways, here's my tattoo of, is it Luffy? Laufey?
it's Luffy. Don't let them get
Luffy.
you. Don't let them attack.
No, I haven't watched it. Hey, I'm slowly watching a bunch of anime, and that's, I'm going to be honest, not on my list because I'm not out here to watch 700 episodes.
And honestly, a lot of it is skippable. Like, if you do want to get into it, find a guide that says, hey, ignore this amount of One Piece, and you'll be absolutely fine.
I can't do that, though. Like, I watched all of Star Wars Clone Wars a couple of years ago, and there was like a guide of like, here's all the crap episodes you can skip, and I still couldn't do it. And I was like, I have to be a completionist. And I watched the bad episodes, and I was like, these are bad. I don't know why I did this.
But Clone Wars isn't 1,000 episodes. Like, 1,000 plus at this point, I'm sure. So, like, I don't know. Like, don't do it to yourself. One Piece is not worth it.
Yeah, I'll take the abridged list. That's fine.
Do that.
Me.
That's my like, suggestion.
One tenth of a piece, not a full piece.
Yeah.
Don't take the whole piece.
Can't handle that.
It's like cryptocurrency. You got
exactly
pieces.
Yeah, exactly. And then I played 2 demos, but I'll save that for the E3 section because there were demos of E3 games.
Ooh.
Okay, nice. For myself, I honestly haven't been playing too many games. Most recently, my review for Ender Lilies came out, so you can check out how I thought about that. It's basically a Hollow Knight clone, and I love Hollow Knight, but it is a clone. So, like, I've played Hollow Knight before, and Hollow Knight is better than it. But it's a good game. I liked it. Outside of that, I played a tiny bit of Mario Golf, so not too much to say there. Honestly, I have been watching a bunch of stuff. Like, I checked out Luca, which was on Disney Plus, and man, does Pixar know how to make a mofo cry.
Yeah, right?
Like, Luca wasn't even about anything super serious, but like, it was such a small scale story, which I love. Like, I love the fact that it wasn't the world's at stake, right? Like, it's just these kids in this Italian town, and it's about their friendships and their feelings of isolation and trying to fit in and whatnot. And man, did it make me cry at the end. Like, it was just really good. So I highly suggest that. Watch Luca. Randomly, I watched the entirety of the first season of Castle Rock. If you don't know what that is, it's that Stephen King world TV show. It's supposed to take place in like the world where all these other Stephen King movies and stuff have taken place. And it was bad, like really bad. Like, I don't think Stephen King had anything to do with the writing of it, but like there were just all these nods to like it starts in Shawshank Redemption. Like, there's like a bunch of stuff going on with prisoners. It's the same town as like every other story because it's all in Maine or whatever. There's other references. Like, there's people who, like, I think the dog. What's the dog one? Kojo or Pet Sematary? Are those
Cujo?
both? Yeah, Cujo. I think there are references to that in there somewhere.
And they even cast actors like the Bill Skarsgård, the guy at the bottom of the prison, is the guy who plays Pennywise in the new movies.
Right.
And then the main girl from Carrie, Sissy Spacek, shows up later on.
And so, like, it was well acted. Like, I think everyone did an admirable job doing their parts, but like the story was dumb. And like, I just don't watch it. The second season is supposed to be something different. And, like, luckily it's an anthology. It doesn't just keep going.
Yeah.
So the second season is supposed to be like kind of a prequel to the story Misery, which is a really good movie, but like, do we need it? Like, they've been doing a lot of that in terms of TV, like doing prequels to like horror movies, right? I don't know. I kind of am not interested after the first season.
Yeah, it's I feel like it was a victim of the whole like cinematic universe plague that is going on with like everything after the MCU's done it. Everyone's like, well, we need to do a cinematic universe. Yeah. And so you have like, I remember when they announced the Call of Duty movie and they announced it as where this is the start of our Call of Duty cinematic universe. And it's like, well, make one thing, and if it's good, make another thing, and then see where you go from there, you know, as opposed to being like, oh, this is the Hasbro, we're doing G.I. Joe combined with Hot Wheels into a single movie, and this is part of our cinematic universe. Although that would be cool. I would watch G.I. Joe Hot Wheels movie.
That's not a bad idea. You just
no.
just threw out there.
So a more shooty Fast and the Furious.
Yes.
Man, even a more shooty Fast and Furious?
That just sounds like the Fast and Furious. Ow.
More loop-de-loops, I believe.
That's true. They don't have enough loop-de-loops. Then.
Just wait long enough. We'll get there.
Honey, I Shrunk the Fast and Furious.
Oh, God. So in light of my being because I am a sort of a Stephen King fan, like it kind of woke me up to, Stephen King's actually my jam a little bit. But though there are a lot of bad Stephen King properties, I went and watched Shawshank Redemption because I hadn't seen it, or at least I hadn't seen it in a very long time. I couldn't remember anything from it. Strong movie, kind of long, and like it's kind of boring, but not in the way that I disliked it. Like it's like downbeat. I don't know how to really explain it. Like stuff happens, it's all interesting, but like it's not exciting. It's kind of like a bunch of dudes talking and going through a jail sentence.
Yeah, it's funny because Stephen King has like a handful of those, like his non-supernatural stories, like Stand By Me, or I guess The Green Mile's a little bit supernatural.
Oh, that's totally supernatural. Yeah.
Yeah. But like those stories seem to have like a very different pace than like Pet Sematary or The Shining, that have like a consistent like, well, we got to get a kill every 50 minutes.
Well, speaking of which, I also watched The Shining for the first time. 1979 movie. Rated super highly. Everyone loves The Shining. It's awful. And did I miss something? The Shining is kind of terrible.
It's okay.
I don't even think it's okay. I think it's actually pretty bad.
Why would you possibly invite me onto this show?
I will defend you, even though you hated it more than I did. Apparently, Casey, I will defend you on that. My partner and I watched it, I think, 2 years ago. Neither of us has seen it, and yeah, it is like, okay, yep, this is happening. All right, I understand a lot of. It was certainly a lot of things that people pull from, and that it was a moment in like filmmaking, and that, you know, like it is a monument in its own way. But like as it stands, watching it as it is from a 2-day perspective, not as it was, but just you know, for Sunday. Man, it is just there.
I'm sorry.
It's got some points. Sorry, go ahead.
No, I vow silence for the rest of the episode. I'm just gonna sit here and shake my head.
Yeah, I just didn't see what was good about it at all.
We're talking about the Jack Nicholson version, not
yes,
right?
Yes,
yeah, okay,
that one. Jack Nicholson was like the only good thing in it. Like I thought his character. Well, for the back half, like when he becomes crazy, he's good. Yeah. Like in the beginning, like he's just so plastic, and I don't know, is that a product of the time? Because he was just fake as hell, and I don't know if that was part of the movie, but like it just rubbed me the wrong way.
Mean, he's supposed to be like a numbed, a numbed recovering alcoholic who's sort of, his alcohol was his identity, so he. By giving up drinking, he kind of lost that. And then once he finds drinking again in the company of ghosts, then he becomes a murderer. It's great.
Right. Like ghost alcohol works, apparently.
Yeah. That sounds like an interesting movie, however.
I just want to go on record to saying I absolutely adore The Shining, and I think Stanley Kubrick is a genius, and I think it holds up wonderfully in terms technically, in terms of the horror, in terms of Jack Nicholson's performance. I think it's great.
All right, that's what we're all here for. Differing opinions.
Oh yeah, and I'm actually not upset. I'm curious. Have you watched Doctor Sleep, or do you know about Doctor Sleep?
Yeah, I know about it. It's like a sequel to The Shining, right?
Yeah, and so Ewan McGregor plays an adult version of Danny, and that one came out, what was it, like 2-3 years ago, and I think it's on HBO Max, so I would check that out, especially with The Shining fresh in your head. I'd be curious to see. It feels very different. It's very different speed. I think the characters are a lot more relatable, and so, yeah, I'd be curious to see what you thought.
Yeah, I think I will check that out. So thanks for the recommendation. But that about wraps up what I've been doing. Well, no, you know what? Is anyone a fan of the group Haim or Haim? Haim.
I know of them. Yeah, I know Haim. Yeah.
Is that an idol group?
No, it's three country western-ish
Yeah, kind of like indie rock.
Yeah, more indie rock than country. I say country western because their most recent album came out this year, probably recently because I hadn't heard about it until like a couple of days ago. I started listening to it. It is super country. And like I'm not sure I'm a fan, but I am liking the album. Like it sounds like a step backwards from everything they've done before. So since no one else really follows them like that, like I won't go down this rabbit hole of music talk. But I just wanted to point that out. Like, I'm a big Haim fan. I love what their last two albums were. This most recent one is kind of a letdown in a lot of ways.
Yeah, it's interesting when I kind of appreciate, even if I don't like the albums, I appreciate artists who try to like mix it up every time. And then even if they like swing and a miss, I'm still like, all right, well, hopefully next time this one connects with me more than whatever this was. But I'm glad you're not making things that just sound exactly the same for 20 years.
Right, because there are bands that do that. And for some of them, it's kind of like a comfort food thing, but you do start to forget about them because of that, right? Like they don't surprise you anymore.
No, absolutely.
But we'll move on into our first topic, all Transformers all the time. We're getting a new Beast Wars film. Beast Wars was one of the earliest CG cartoon shows. It used to play like early morning, I want to say on like the WB, CW, whatever that was back in the day. And honestly, it was my first like Transformers property that I was actually very attached to. Like the regular Transformers was a little before my time. Like I didn't really watch that growing up, that or G.I. Joe, so I didn't really care too much about Optimus Prime. But Maximus, that's my dude right there, and all those Maximals and such. Like I love that show. It was such a good show. And like all of my friends watched it. We were obsessed with it. We got all the toys and whatnot. To hear that they're turning that into a movie, especially after what the other Transformers movies were, I am kind of not on board. I don't think this is a great idea. Like, how are you guys feeling about this news?
I'm partly confused because I thought Bumblebee was going to be like rebooting the Transformers franchise, and I don't know if you guys saw Bumblebee from a couple of years ago, but it was actually really good.
Yeah, like the trailer for that was surprisingly good. I was like, oh, this looks like a much better movie than what was coming before. And then apparently critics liked it. So
critics liked it, but it didn't make as much money as the big dumb Michael Bay movies, and so I think they're just going to go back to the big dumb Michael Bay movies.
But to have shame.
Have the Maximals and Predacons in this. It's interesting that it's starring Anthony Ramos, who most recently was the lead in The Heights.
So right? I literally just watched.
I'm hoping he sings to the beasts. I want him to sing to the beasts.
It'll just be a songbird transformer.
Yeah, exactly. I think that'd be great.
That sounds delightful.
It is funny you mentioned because, man, I always associate this with that mid-90s, like, this in Reboot. I don't know if you guys remember the cartoon Reboot.
I absolutely remember Reboot.
Yeah. As being the, like, early, like, CG that looked amazing on TV at the time, and now if you go back, you're like, ooh, why did you look like that?
This looks like a concept.
Yeah, but Reboot, if no one watched, it was a show that took place like inside a video game console, and it was all these little people who lived in that world. And
I thought it was like a gaming
down,
PC or something.
Yeah, okay, that was it. Yeah, and then a game would come down, and if you were within the proximity of the giant game, then you you transformed into like a knight or a race car.
Like you were pulled into, and you were like an NPC or something, maybe.
Yeah,
it was a cool concept. I think there was a. This is gonna sound stupid. There was a reboot of Reboot at some point.
Oh my
God. There was. Their season 4 or whatever it was like a
reboot.
Yeah.
I don't think reboot room.
I don't want to keep saying it, but
reboot boot.
The reboot boot.
Yeah, reboot boot.
But yeah, I haven't seen it yet. I don't know if it's any good. What they decided to bring back. But
it'd be funny if they made it like a scathing commentary on like the toxicity of gaming.
I might watch
just
that.
Like the Reboot people are like trying to play a game, and then everyone's talking about how they're going to F their moms, and they're like, "Oh, why?"
If I remember correctly, in the original show, there was like some sort of time skip where like that kid who had like a hoverboard or something
became like an adult.
Yeah, he was an adult.
I think that
he had like scar, like he was missing an eye, and like he was like really edgy or something.
Wait, have we seen the 4th season?
I mean, I haven't.
I don't know.
I know
it gets weird.
It exists.
Like it started weird, and it gets weirder.
Yeah, this explains everything. It was Canadian.
Mm-hmm.
That
That
does
explains
check out.
everything.
But Lampy, getting us back on point, says, I hope if they're making a new Transformers movie that Michael Bay is bound and gagged for the duration of the production. He's very much involved in this, from what I understand, right? Like they went back to the wheelhouse, or is this completely new directors?
Oh, it's a new director. It's the director of the second Creed movie.
Oh, right, yeah.
So not Ryan Coogler. Yeah.
Imagine if Ryan Coogler did a Transformers movie.
It's no weirder than Barry Jenkins, who directed Moonlight, is directing the Lion King sequel. So that's weird.
Wait, what?
Yeah, Barry Jenkins, who directed Moonlight and the Underground Railroad that just premiered on Amazon, is directing a sequel to the live-action Lion King. Although it's not live-action because it's all just computer-generated. Yeah, but the Beyonce Donald Glover one. Yeah. And they've explained it that it's going to be like The Godfather 2 in terms of it's going to be a sequel and a prequel. So it's going to have like be a sequel as well as have stuff with young Mufasa.
Awesome.
I don't know. I didn't sign up.
Yeah, this sounds like because Aesop was asking, are they going to do Simba's Pride? Because there already is a Lion King 2. There's an animated Lion King 2. But this
is also an Aladdin 2, but they're also making a new Aladdin live-action movie.
I will die on the hill that the Aladdin straight-to-DVD sequels, both of them, are really freaking good.
They could have put those in theaters.
They absolutely could have put them in 90% theaters.
Disney animated movies.
The animated TV show, also really good.
Yeah.
I'm the world's biggest Aladdin stan, apparently.
Yeah. You've got your Gilbert Gottfried Iago tattoo just on your shoulder.
Yes,
Return of Jafar. That was the name of it.
Return of Jafar, and then
King of Thieves?
King of Thieves,
Thieves?
I think King of Thieves.
Lots of Thieves? 40 Thieves.
Well, no, the song was 40 Thieves. I think the title was King of Thieves, Aladdin and the King of Thieves.
Okay.
I might be wrong.
It's something like that.
It is something like
the
that.
internet.
I've watched them recently. Like when Disney Plus first showed up, I went straight to those movies.
I haven't seen any of those since I was a kid, so I want to believe you that they're good.
Well, wait, you can't watch them until you've watched all of Reboot again. So, you got to get Canadian Netflix. You got to watch all of Reboot.
So just to wrap up the Transformers talk, on a scale of 1 to 10, how likely do you think that this will actually be good? Because Beast Wars, to me, is the better Transformers property. I know that they're big fans of the car one, but like those animals, they have my heart. So what do you got, like, shot in the dark, based on like what you know of the property, what you know of its live action adaptations? Like, what do you hope it'll be, at least?
I'm going to give it a 50-50. I think it has a 50% chance of just being a complete dud, but hopefully they learned something from Bumblebee, and the guy did Creed 2, which was like a subdued movie that wasn't like bombastic Michael Bay nonsense. So hopefully he's bringing if there's one thing I want from a Beast Wars movie, it's someone who knows how to bring subtle drama.
I mean, that sounds weird, but that's exactly what is needed. Because that show was all about the interpersonal character relationships. Like, there was betrayal back and forth. How many times did, like, a Maximal become a Predacon and a Predacon become a Maximal? Like, it was all sorts of shenanigans happening.
It was a top 10 anime betrayal before there were anime betrayals.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So for me, I have very little confidence that they can hit the notes needed, but I do think it's much better source material. I'm kind of in like the 7 range. Like there's like 70% sure that this will actually be a better movie than at least those previous ones. And I guess that's not saying that much because those previous movies are god awful.
Yeah, it's pretty low bar, but like you said, if they keep Michael Bay away or like poke him with a stick if he tries to get close to set, then I think everything's good.
How about you, Jesse? You said you're not the biggest Transformers guy in general, but like,
I never watched Transformers as a kid. I just had an interest in them. I had friends that liked Beast Wars.
Mm-hmm.
I never got into it. What was it? I never saw any of the movies because I don't care. I thought they already did Beast Wars because Optimus Prime rode a T-Rex in a trailer. So I'm actually surprised that this is the new thing.
It's a different thing. Let me just pull up my fake glasses here. Those are the Dinobots. They are, a different lexicon of Transformer, unrelated to the Maximals and Predacons, who take the shape of mostly dinosaurs as Predacons. So, yes, I can see the confusion, but, I just cleared that up for you, so you're welcome.
Look, that's the correct shape to take, though.
Yeah, if you're going to take the shape of an animal, you should probably just do a T-Rex. That seems like a good...
Dinosaurs are probably a strong... they were like... The Maximals were like all jungle creatures, right? They're like rhinos and... I did like... what was his name? Cheetar? He was a cheetah. He was really fast. I like that.
I wonder how they came up with that name.
Right? I remember the toy line. So I think there was like a tarantula, and I think there was a raptor. But that might be from the Dinobots or whatever.
No, there was a raptor. Okay. On the Predacons, and the tarantula was a bad guy who I think became a good guy. There was also like a white tiger, but that I could just be thinking of Power Rangers now. Anyway, let's.
You could be.
There was also Rita Repulsa. They had to fight her,
and then she got replaced by Lord Zed and Ivan Ooze, who transformed into a
Ivan Ooze was only in the movies. Like he was never in the actual TV show, which I resented. I thought he was a good villain.
They put him in the TV show.
Really?
He was in it for a while when they had the ninja suits. That movie is delightful, and I will die on that hill.
Like the first Power Rangers movie, right? Yes, the first Power Rangers movie is good.
I'm not going to say that.
Well, no, it's good delightful. For what it was.
Yeah, it's hilarious.
Super campy, right? But it's a good time.
Did you guys see the Power Rangers reboot from like 5 years ago?
Yeah, I actually liked it.
Movie? So did I.
Yeah. I'm mad they're not doing that anymore.
Yeah, because that was a movie that was like 90% build up, and then they became the Power Rangers in like the last scene, and I'm great, now we're gonna get another movie with full Power Rangers.
Yeah, like that was their big misstep, right? Like they spent so much time on the group dynamic, which was surprisingly good.
That's the thing, is I liked it. I thought it was good. Yeah.
But the Power Ranger part, which is what everyone showed up for, was just very tiny. And I always hated the Zords. Like, stop with the giant robots. That's not fun. I want more kung fu action.
Yeah.
Well, okay, that's kind of interesting to hear. Because I didn't see the movie. Because what I want out of Power Rangers is really ridiculous, practical costumes that somehow don't break when they get flown around, and silly monsters. And it didn't have either of those, and I was like, well, I guess I'm not going to see it.
No. It did have Bill Hader as Alpha 5, though. That was nice.
I don't even like Alpha, so that's not... Wow. There are much better Power Ranger side people than Alpha.
Are there? I thought he was the only one. I guess I only watched like the first 2 seasons of Power Rangers, so my knowledge past Alpha is not coming.
You're not missing that much.
Eat it. Whatever. Dino Charge was wonderful.
All right, so you haven't seen Beast Wars, but you've seen Dino Charge?
Yeah, because
Dino Charge in the name, I guess.
Dino Charge came out like a few years ago.
Oh right, yeah, that is. I think my son was actually watching that.
It's delightful.
It's pretty popular. But anyway, we will move on from the Transformers talk into our next topic. Microsoft, like I said earlier, they are jumping into the cloud game. They've been talking about it for years, honestly, so it's about time. But they're doing it in the sense where Google Stadia basically said that most of their experiences were going to be native to the cloud, that you would be able to do things in their games because of the cloud technology that you wouldn't be able to do on a console. For example, using multiple servers to kind of power like the graphics for like the game that you're in. So like you're getting like a room's worth of console power or some nonsense like that, right? Pure speculation. Mm-hmm. But, Google shut the doors on all of its actual in-house development. So you're not going to get anything like that from Google. But we may get it from Microsoft, who does have, the money, the technology to do this sort of thing. And they are trying to make their cloud service very attractive. How do you guys feel about the likelihood of this, for one, coming to pass, and two, actually being something worth checking out?
I think it'll happen with Microsoft because Microsoft is slowly pushing so many of their chips in on the cloud between Azure and between Project X Cloud, and like how much they're viewing the Xbox ecosystem as a less a singular platform and more of like an ecosystem, as I was saying. So something that you can play on a TV app that's able to stream off the cloud, or play on your phones, or, there's always the rumor that, are they going to put this on Switch? So I feel like of any of the companies, Microsoft is the one who kind of understands the cloud landscape the most. And so I do think this will eventually happen, but what a cloud only game looks like, I don't know. Like, I can't quite wrap my head around what could the cloud do that I couldn't do on my console, if that makes any sense.
No, yeah, it's kind of a nebulous thing. Like, Google gave a couple of examples, but most of them were, I think, kind of server related, like you not having to worry about like lag or cheating, things like that. But like a new gameplay idea based on just the cloud, like I don't know, like chat if you got any ideas, throw them out. Like, I'd be interested to hear. How about you, Jesse? Like, what's your take on Microsoft's ability to kind of pull this off?
I think Marty's on the right track. Microsoft has been pushing for that for a long time. They were a big push for digitization of like media, over physical media, and like, hey, why don't you download this? Why don't you just get it on here? Why don't you use our service for that? So this is nothing new to them. It does kind of feel like what Google jumped into, saying, oh, what they're doing, we'll do that now, is something that Microsoft has been dealing with for years, if not over a decade at this point, for trying to build that up. So I think it's entirely possible that they have the infrastructure and the history of watching the shortcomings and having to deal with them firsthand, that they could actually pull it off. What it's going to entail, kind of like we were saying, I don't know. Because what you're saying with like, oh, no cheating, no lag, that sounds great. 2015 was the year of VR, though. So what people expect and are pitching is not usually what happens. So I would like to see how it progresses, but they're not going to get rid of a console generation. I don't think. If they are, okay, fine, I'm wrong. But I don't think they're going to be able to get rid of like their physical consoles in a capacity that people speculate, just because it is still new technology. It's new technology in the sense of working the way they want it to. It's not new technology in the terms of streaming on live. Came and went. Other services like that are touting everything that Microsoft is saying now said the same things years ago and are now no longer part of the market space.
Makes a lot of sense. I will say part of the story from The Verge here is that they've hired Kim Swift, who apparently created Portal, like before Valve bought it and turned it into Portal. She is the brains behind that concept, and they have her kind of heading up this initiative, right? So you have someone who had the brilliant idea to make a game about portals, try to come up with ideas to use the cloud in interesting ways. Like,
and she was heading this up at Stadia as well, so it almost seemed like they're bringing her Stadia project, or the sort of the kernel of her Stadia idea over to Microsoft.
Yeah, like she must have started and had been working on something that was at least of interest enough to Microsoft to go get her and bring it over to their thing, because like they had the same idea. Like they were directly competing with Google on that front when Google announced Stadia. So now that Stadia is not in that market anymore, why not grab whatever was good about what they were doing? So like that information makes me feel like there is something here that Microsoft is latching onto and building up towards. So like I'm kind of excited, and I don't want to. My hopes were very much dashed when Google decided they weren't going to do this Stadia thing whole hog anymore, because I got really excited when they were like, hey, we're jumping into video games, we're going to make all this amazing stuff. I was 100% on board. They really let me down. So I'm trying not to repeat that level of excitement, though everything you guys are saying is 100% correct. Like Microsoft does seem best suited to actually get this done. But at this point, I'm actually going to be a little more skeptical. Though, like, I want it to work, but it does seem to be a lot harder than, what these guys let on. Because, again, Microsoft tried this cloud stuff with Crackdown. Crackdown 3 was supposed to be a big cloud-based experience.
I remember that big E3 presentation, how they were talking about how the whole city is going to be destructible using the power of the cloud.
Yeah, like the city would, I guess, exist on like their cloud servers, and then you would just connect to it. So like they wouldn't have to render that out, I guess, to every single person. Every single person would just see what's happening on that server or something like that, right? I don't know how technology works, but it sounded cool. And what was it, 5 years until Crackdown 3 actually came out, and like none of that actually made it into the game. Like the bare minimum of what they tried to do regarding that was like laughable, if we're being honest. So it's hard.
Yeah. That's the thing, is I just need to like, I think the idea is neat. I just need to know what the thing is.
Right.
Because as of right now, like I can't wrap my head around like a cloud exclusive game, a game that like needs to utilize the cloud in order to convey its mechanics or its gameplay ideas. Because I just don't know what that's like. And another interesting piece of the story is that there's for a while now, it's been rumored that Microsoft is very close to signing a deal with Hideo Kojima on the studio's next game after Death Stranding, and that it is something that utilizes the cloud heavily, and it's something that is almost completely reliant on the cloud. And the rumor is that this was a game that he had in the works with Google, and then Google, obviously when they stopped sort of really supporting Stadia exclusive projects, it almost sounds like Microsoft swooped in and, kind of cherry picked the core talent from there and tried to bring them onto their own thing. So, and again, if I had to list people, I'd be interested in seeing what they could do in the cloud that would impress me. The person behind Portal and Hideo Kojima would be two of those names near the top of my list. So
very creative individuals, optimistic. For better or worse.
Yeah. Yep. As a massive Kojima fan, a lot of times it's for worse. Yeah.
But yeah, like what you're saying makes sense. Like it makes me excited that they can get it right. But I will still attempt to temper my expectations so that I'm not, crying in the corner when I'm let down again. Yeah.
Or crying in the corner for a completely different reason.
Yeah, just my daily cry, just make it about something else for once.
I also on the subject that
of crying,
possibly that what part of technological advances that makes it so interesting is that you don't know what you're going to get, and that you are going to say this is what we are shooting for, and that is not necessarily incorrect, wrong, or misleading to be like, well, we couldn't get there. We wanted to. We thought we could, but this is new. This is experimental. And so if they don't nail what they're going for the first time, or possibly eventually, like, I don't want to be cynical and be like, oh, you promised the world and we got this.
Yeah.
That, it is experimental.
Mm-hmm. Landry brings up a good point, though, in that xCloud hasn't even got streaming stable yet, which is completely true. So this really does feel like my first thought when Stadia was announced is like they're putting the horse before the cart before the horse. Like we're like the infrastructure of a vast majority of the world isn't there yet to be able to support this kind of stuff. And I do think eventually it 100% will. Like if you look at, think about the first cell phone you had compared to the phone you have in your pocket now. Like that's such a massive leap in only 20 years, less than 20 years. So I do think we're going to get there. But in the same way, I think when VR, or at least home VR, came along with like PSVR and Oculus and everything, I just feel like the technology itself wasn't there yet to really permeate mass consumption in terms of just the larger culture. I think once headsets get cheap enough and light enough and cord free enough, I think we'll get there, but I just don't think we're there yet. So I feel kind of similar with cloud gaming.
So I mean, we're getting this information this month, but the results of this are still likely several years out, is the vibe I get, right?
Oh yeah.
Like even if they do announce something about what it could be, we'll probably be waiting several years before it actually shows up, and maybe even more years than that for it to actually be something quality.
Yeah. No, I completely agree. Don't expect to be playing this anytime soon.
I think Microsoft might have a better chance of actually playing it for the long game than Google.
Yeah, Google's a long history of almost like ADD. Like they'll announce something and then they're like, okay, we're shuttering it. Like it didn't give us immediate results, so we're not going to actually let this gestate. Remember what was Google? Was it Google Plus? Was that their like social network?
Yes, Google Plus with their social network. Then it was like, was Circles also a social network, or was that just part of Google Plus?
I think that might have been Google
part of Google Plus.
Part of Google Plus, yeah.
Because they also had
you could share with specific circles, so your parents didn't know about the swingers party you were going to or whatever.
Yeah.
So you didn't go to the same swingers party as your parents.
We have maybe they should be in your circle.
Different circles.
Oh, that would be a bummer.
Oh God. Oh, hold on. I forgot. I was about to say now. Oh, because Google also had like
about going to swingers parties with your parents.
Right. Of course. Yes. No,
yeah.
No, they also had like 3, 4, 5 different chat and video chat apps all at once. Like there was Hangouts, there was Google Messenger, there was Google Wave. Do you guys remember that?
Yeah. Yeah.
That's kind of what Google Docs became, sort of.
Sort of, yes.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
Remember when Gmail was invite only?
No, I don't.
For like the first couple years, Gmail was invite only.
Wow, yeah, I missed that boat.
Yeah, I mean, this was back when everyone was like rocking Hotmails, and
I remember when Facebook was only college email addresses, and then
Pacific College.
They made a high school Facebook. So there was college Facebook, and then there was high school Facebook.
Yeah.
And then it was like, this is stupid. it's just Facebook. Let all your parents in. And that's when everybody left.
And then it just became a swingers party for our parents. and then all of a sudden you got the 2016 election, and there we are. All right, that's it. History of Facebook.
History of Facebook complete. All right, any lingering thoughts on the Xbox Cloud stuff? Or can we move on to our E3 recaps?
I'm ready for the E3 cap.
Yeah.
All right, I'm just writing down a title for this episode. But anyway,
your parents, not your parents' swingers party.
That's really good.
So, E3 happened 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks, 2 weeks ago. Let's say, even if it didn't, let's say it happened 2 weeks ago. Lots of conferences. The three of us actually covered most of those conferences on The Escapist. You can check out all that stuff. There are a lot of breakout videos on the channel, so definitely check those discussions out there. But I just want to ask you guys, now that we're, divorced from all of the news, like what are some of the things that have stuck with you? Like what are you still actually looking forward to that got announced at E3? So use the time, I guess, to pick and choose from whatever conference you want. Like we won't go through every single individual conference because there were a lot of them, and also a lot of them were very bad. But so you definitely talk about the ones that really hurt you in that way as well.
Really hurt us.
Can we collectively praise the sun for the Elden Ring trailer that I know
for
excited about?
Oh, absolutely. Like that was, I think we hit one of the high points very early on in E3. That was like day -2 of E3. Yeah, man, Elden Ring. That game looks great. What a cool game.
Yeah, and that was kind of all anyone really wanted. And they gave us that, right? Like, no one was expecting, I guess, like, a full walkthrough. No one was expecting... we got, like, a solid release date, right?
Yeah, we did. January
22nd.
Right, so, like, that's probably more than people were asking for. People just wanted to see it. Because, we knew it was coming for so long. People trust From Software. They're big fans of George R.R. Martin. So... show us what this even looks like. We were already excited, and they did exactly that. So bravo to them. They looked great.
Yeah, and it's been one of my favorite things about From games is when something comes out, waiting 24 hours and then watching like a Vati Vidya or like one of the people who are like super entrenched into the Soulsborne scene and everything, be able to like take this trailer and then break it down and tell me like mechanically what's happening here and how, this stealth mechanic is like pulled from Sekiro while there's weapon transformations like Bloodborne, and here's what it might mean for the lore. So yeah, I'm absolutely stoked for this game. Like the idea of taking the From Software sensibilities and seeing what they do in a quasi open world just seems really neat to me. I feel like they're one of those teams that could really do something interesting with the open world formula, which, tends to become kind of stale.
True. Oh, yeah. Open world is not a selling point for me.
Yeah.
But FromSoft open world.
Yeah. No, absolutely.
My only reservation, because I am a fan of open world games. Like I like them especially when they're done right. And I'm a big fan of the Souls games. I am worried that this is the first open world from that studio. Like, they are very talented. I have, high expectations for the caliber of what their work will be, and I wonder if that will work against me in terms of them taking a crack at an open world for the first time. Because, like, there could be some growing pains there that they haven't had to deal with before. But I mean, I applaud them for pushing out of a comfort zone for sure.
Yeah. One thing, I think the thing that most open world games suffer from is just like padding and fluff. Like, well, we got to make the world bigger and the game longer, so here's a bunch of bullshit that's not super fun to do, but it'll take you 20 hours. And I cannot fathom FromSoft doing that. Like, everything in their games feels so meticulously placed, and so, like, I mean, the mere fact that their games are, every time you go to a bonfire, the enemies respawn exactly where they were. Like, it truly does feel like they set up all these, like a really elaborate domino thing. And so I can't imagine them suddenly being like, all right, well, we'll throw in a bunch of fetch quests and towers to climb and everything. Like, I wrote a piece for the site saying that I feel like they're going to pull elements from lonely open world games like Breath of the Wild and Shadow of the Colossus and even Red Dead 2. I feel like and I don't think the game's gonna be nearly as big as any of those.
I can't imagine they'd make a map like super huge.
Yeah. I don't think you're gonna go to what was the island you go to in Red Dead 2? Like there's like the Cuba you go to for a little bit. Not standing, but yeah, whatever that is. I can't imagine anything like that in a FromSoft game.
I don't remember an island in Red Dead. Did I miss like a chunk of that game?
Yeah, in Red Dead 2, you end up getting shipwrecked on like a island. It's almost like Cuba, and there's like the Sandinistas you fight with.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah. And then you take like a hot air balloon back, I think, or something.
No, the hot air balloon is to free some guys out of prison, I think.
A prison. Oh, yeah, they're like working on the yard. Yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, there's a whole ship. You're right. I completely forgot about that.
Yeah.
That section of the game.
You got me really worried because I was like, did I make that up or is that another game?
Did I dream about a level that doesn't exist in Red Dead Redemption?
Am I thinking of the Scarface, The World Is Yours, the video game?
That was a fever dream, Marty.
That was yeah, it happens a lot. After covering E3, I just go into a 7-day hibernation and sweat it all out.
It happens.
Ace Sabalufi says, January seems so soon, though. I agree. I think it seems suspiciously soon. So my thoughts...
A delay.
I think a lot of the games we saw that had a date slapped on it, I think, are going to be later than they said. Not out of like maliciousness, but stuff's still weird in the world. It's going to take a while to make stuff. So,
and games are complex to make.
They are very difficult. I've tried to play Dreams before, and the games I made weren't even games. They were little abominations that I deleted. The world will never see them. So.
I think that's the tagline for Dreams.
Little abominations the world will never see.
Yeah, it's like right under there.
Yeah.
Pretty small text.
Aside, I was
gonna move us off Elden Ring since everyone loves it. It's gonna be great. Nothing to see here, kids.
No.
Yeah.
I feel like so when I mentioned that it was one of the two peaks, my second peak was literally the very last thing of E3 with the sequel to Breath of the Wild. Nintendo showing off that trailer, and Breath of the Wild is my favorite game. I have not liked a game since Breath of the Wild as much as Breath of the Wild. And that is another game, watching people dissect that trailer and talk about how Skylink seems like it's like thousands of years in the past, and you're playing of like the hero of legend, or maybe you're playing as young Ganondorf, and I don't know what's going on in that game, but I'm excited to play it. Probably not in 2022 like they say, but I'm excited to play it on the Super Nintendo Switch.
Because that's
maybe by 2023 there will be one.
Jesse, you were right. There was no mention of it anywhere at E3.
Thank you
at all.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah.
I came here for validation. I appreciate it.
You finally got it.
You're like, all right, I'm going to leave now, guys. I'm just waiting for that.
No, I mean, I am a big Legend of Zelda fan, in case you haven't noticed. I love the franchise. Breath of the Wild was actually competing with my other favorite Zelda game, Wind Waker, for a while. And still, they kind of go back and forth. Like, both of them are probably my favorite Zelda game, right? That and A Link to the Past, like the Triforce of Zelda games for me.
Yep.
But I kind of wanted to see more. Like I it's been so long. I thought they would have actually had more to show. Like I kind of predicted that they'd give us like a big walkthrough of like the new mechanics and the world and stuff like that. Them just giving us a trailer, it was the same thing that From Software gave us with Elden Ring, but I honestly felt like Nintendo owed us a bit more than From Software did. So like, not that I'm disappointed in what I saw, because I thought the trailer looks amazing, the game looks fantastic. I am of the mind that you wouldn't actually need a Super Switch to play this. Like, I think this will run on a regular Switch because, one, Nintendo has sold a bajillion of them, and two, the first game ran on the Wii U. So, like, if they're at all using if they're at all using that engine, like, I don't think they have to do too much. And from the look of it, like, yes, it looks beautiful. They're very artistic in how they've designed the graphics. But if you compare it to anything else, I don't think it holds up. I think Nintendo's Legend of Zelda graphics are kind of old looking. So like the game looks good, but like visually, I think they kind of need to step up their game. And I said this before on the stream, and I got a lot of flack for it. I do think Genshin Impact's world looks better. Like it's a better looking open world. That's all. The open world looks better. That's what I'm saying.
I think Genshin Impact has more graphics.
Yes.
We're just calling what a game looks like graphics.
You're right, sure.
But I think Nintendo is still able to succeed just based on incredibly strong art direction alone. Whereas I think Genshin Impact's world kind of feels like a hodgepodge, whereas everything in Breath of the Wild feels very meticulous, and like anything you climb to the top of, like every direction you look in was sort of like handcrafted to give you subtle hints of what's over the horizon and sort of play with colors and depth and shapes in a really interesting way.
Like I won't deny that. Like they absolutely craft their world in a way that I don't think Genshin Impact does. But the fact that it's hodgepodge is actually kind of built in. Like there are different regional areas. So like, but traveling between them probably doesn't hold as much interesting scenery. Yeah. But when you look at like the chunk of like the Leeway map, for example, which is kind of like their version of China and Genshin Impact, if you like get up real high and just look at that space, it is gorgeous. Like it rivals anything that I've seen in Breath of the Wild, in 100% honesty. So
got a ton of graphics, lots of graphics.
It helps. It really helps sell an open world, and that's what this is, right? Breath of the Wild 2 is a massive open world game, so you do want it to look pretty when you look over those vistas and stuff. So
yeah. Well, you think about it, it's going to be. Think about if this game doesn't come out till 2023 and runs on the Switch. Think about what the first game for a console looks like compared to what the last game of a console looks like.
That's true.
Like what
get a lot more out of it.
What like Killzone Shadowfall looked like compared to what The Last of Us Part 2 looked like. And that's all running on the exact same hardware. So like I feel like if there's any team who's going to know how to get every little bit of the relatively small processing power of the original Switch, it would be the Nintendo first party Zelda team.
Yeah, you're right. That's a fair point. Mm-hmm. But yeah.
Are you a Zelda fan, Jesse? Are you? I mean, you got your Switch now. Are you going to play it? Play the old one? Breath of the Wild?
I just got 6 new games that I kind of need to get through.
There's a lot of games.
None of which are Zelda, I guess.
Most of them are games to play with other people. And Lampy was just saying that Breath of the Wild is 30% off in the Nintendo eShop right now. So maybe
do it.
And then I'll have a single
peer pressure him.
Yeah. One of the rare instances peer pressure actually works.
But yeah, I've played Ocarina of Time because someone left their Nintendo 64 at my house with the game and said, you have to play this. And I was like, okay. And that is my experience with Zelda. Like
it's a good one.
Yeah, and I've watched David Bryan Gilbert's Zelda Timeline Explained.
There you go. You got everything.
And that's it. That's like, it seems cool, but there's nothing about it that's especially compelling to me. Like, the name means nothing. Someone has to sell me on the merits of the individual game before I have any interest in trying it.
Fair enough.
It's like a very fair and like it's just like a very tempered response. Yeah, you rarely get that on the internet.
Yeah, it sounds like you aren't clouded by hype.
Yeah. Counterpoint,
that
Lampy says,
franchise.
just do it, Jesse. So
I stand other things hard enough, so I got to be tempered about something.
So, I mean, speaking of which, like, what has gotten you excited? Like, Marty gave two big examples.
yeah.
I was excited to watch Devolver Digital's presentation. I didn't care what games they announced. I just wanted to watch what kind of wackadoo horse hockey they produce, and it was glorious as always.
Weird hot dog or chili dog propaganda.
Yeah, tons of chili dog stuff. That was
Did
incredible.
not get that. Don't care. Loved it. Their games. I mean, I want to see a presentation, but the games, they do produce some really interesting stuff. So like Trek to Yomi looks really good. Wizard with a Gun, Inscription looks awesome. I'm really interested in Inscription.
Yeah, like spooky deck builder.
Yeah, I freaking love it. Like Death's Door could be cool, and Terra Nil was one of those where it's like, I love this idea. I'm probably not for me. It doesn't matter. I'm glad it exists, and someone's going to get this game and love it.
Death Door was the one with the crows, right?
Yeah. So Death's Door, that's one of the games I hinted at earlier. I played a demo of Death's Door, the E3 demo, as well as the demo of Tunic, which that's the indie game we've seen at so many Xbox conferences and indie conferences. That's like a top-down, very cute Zelda-like.
It's a Fox Zelda. Or Fox
Zelda, yeah. And both this and Death's Door are like top-down, isometric Zelda-likes, but with Souls combat. And so they're like incredibly difficult, but the feeling of exploration and discovery that both games have are wonderful, like absolutely wonderful. Like I just kept wanting to press on to see what was in the next area, and whether it was like a little bit of story or like a weird little mystery or a new mechanic or a new type of enemy. And I feel like both these games are going to end up being like massive hits. I think people are going to love them, and I think they understand that the Souls, like when we think of Soulsborns, I feel like a lot of times we just think of like get good, really tough difficulty. Whereas I think this understands that part of what we love about Soulsborne games are that carrot on the end of the stick of what's around the next corner of like, I want to beat this, not to say I beat it, but to see what's next, to see what new area they take me to or what new challenge lies ahead. And so, yeah, both games seem really great. I'm a big fan of both of them.
It's really good to
right
hear.
up my alley, both of those.
I like Death's Door.
Death's Door is soon. That's coming out in July, and then Tunic is later on in the summer.
Cool. And then the Nintendo one was really cool too, because new WarioWare, really enjoy WarioWare. Love that it's going to be 2-player. New Mario Party, remade Mario Party. Love Mario Party. And Fatal Frame, Maiden of Blackwater, a freaking Wii U exclusive coming to Switch. And a Wii U exclusive coming to Switch is basically a new game for everybody, except like 100 people.
That's pretty true. Yeah, that's absolutely true.
Nice.
Because I like Fatal Frame, and I wanted to play that game.
And Switch seems like a perfect fit for it too.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah.
I'll bring up Metroid Dread because that's kind of a crazy announcement. Like that game was supposed to be coming like so long ago. Heard nothing about it, and then out of the blue, when you're expecting anything else, like they had a bunch of crap that they could have announced and talked to us about. Instead, they're like, "Hey, here's this thing that you forgot about, Metroid Dread." I've never played a full Metroid game. I was really hoping for the Metroid Prime trilogy so that I could, get that and actually go through them or whatever. I love the Metroidvania genre. Have never played Castlevania or Metroid, which I think is an interesting thing to say, but I should probably get on that soon. So I don't know, Metroid
sprawlers.
Right, that's what we're calling them now, sprawler. I don't like that one as much as recursive.
Recursive?
Yeah, recursive. I want to turn that into a thing that the Escapist pushes out to the rest of the world. But sprawler doesn't really roll off the tongue as well.
I love recursive, but mostly because I hate Soulsborne.
Yeah, I hate it too, but we just need to come to an agreement on like the term.
Yeah.
Unless the term I'm looking for, like the one mechanic is the weighing your options at a safe point of whether you want to save and get your health back, but that means all the enemies come back, or whether you want to press on and risk losing your experience. So like when I talk about Soulsborne, that's almost the only thing I'm talking about. Like, I'm not talking about the aesthetics. I'm not talking about the puzzles. I'm talking about that, like, having to, like, hedge your bet every time you reach a new point. Like, should I go a little bit further or should I try to cash in what I have now?
That particular flavor of risk reward.
Yeah, exactly. Which,
yeah, definitely.
We just got to come up with a turn. If we can come up with looty shooties, then we can come up with that.
Right?
The Schluter. Everyone's favorite.
Schluter. That sounds like a weird Olympic sport that like Belgium wins every year.
Schluting.
Yeah, Belgium's great at schluting.
Yeah, it's going to be on after curling, I believe.
Yeah,
schluting.
That's at the 3 a.m. block.
But Metroid Dread. I was like, okay, cool. This looks like a 2D Metroid I can get behind. And then they showed the robot chasing you, and I was like, fuck that noise.
But it's like I don't think it's gonna be as scary as like Alien. It's like 2D. Like,
but it's like,
get too scared.
The thing is, I'm not scared of the alien. Like that's the big misconception. I'm not scared of the scary games. I don't like that a thing that you can't defend yourself against chases you. Like it's tension and stress that's put on top of you playing the game that I don't find enjoyable. Like, it's just not fun for me. Like, if I gotta avoid like this thing that is tracking my position while I'm trying to do another thing, it's like it's basically the same thing as like putting a hard timer on like a puzzle or something. Like, I don't need this stress. It's not fun.
Did you play like RE Resident Evil 2 or 3?
No, I've never been a fan of the Resident Evil games.
Oh, okay. Well,
but
did you ever play tag growing up?
Yeah,
like,
but I can defend myself because I'm fast. Like they don't
Samus
let you.
has got a bunch of guns and missiles and stuff.
But I don't know.
Turn into a morph ball.
Well, yeah, I don't know what her kid is against this thing, but like from what they showed in the trailer, it's like she has to run. Like when she saw the thing, she's like, "Oh, I gotta get the F out of here."
Well, that's how you create dread.
You know what? You're right. It's right in the name.
Oh.
I should have guessed.
No, I do. I kind of agree that there's an art to being chased in a game, and I think the Mr. X in Resident Evil 2, or even the main Baker dude in Resident Evil 7 in the house, I think those are handled really well, but they're also used sparingly. So I'm hoping this isn't like the entire game is being chased by this thing. So
yeah, because that would be unfortunate. Like I can deal with it. Like if it's there for like a nominal amount or for effect, I can get behind it. Right. But like don't make it the main mechanic like Alien did, because that's all you do in Alien is run from the stupid alien.
Hey, sometimes you run from the stupid androids. When you get later in the game, you run from other stupid things.
If you guys watched the stream I did for that, like I tried to fight the androids anytime I could. It didn't work, which was also not fun, but I tried. Yeah. You can't try to fight the alien. Like, it just kills you immediately.
Yeah.
But on
that's
top
a good
of that,
life lesson. Don't try to fight the alien.
Don't try to fight the alien. Yeah, we just got the UFO report, so read that and learn what not to do.
They have no idea what's going on. That's pretty much what the report read.
But Halo Infinite got its kind of redemption story in a way. It looks really good. They showed off a lot of multiplayer footage, which I'm a big fan of. Like I'm excited to jump back into that world. Like I wish more people played Halo now as like their multiplayer game of choice. Like because I would absolutely jump back into that.
I don't want to interrupt you, but I have a question, so I want you to finish.
No, I mean I'm pretty much just waxing poetic about how much I love Halo.
Okay, so as someone who like plays some online shooty games, shooty bang bangs, like why?
Term.
Yeah, that's very technical. It's better than Souls-like. Why? It's not a Doom clone anymore. It can't be Souls-likes anymore. Like we gotta come up with a term. Like why Halo? Like I've played Halo throughout the years, and like back in the Xbox OG days, we're doing LAN parties, super fun, great memories. But like time has moved on. We're not LAN partying anymore. Halo's its own thing now. It's different. That's fine, perfectly fine. But why is it better? What's captivating about it that you want the audience to have? Because I've played it as like a fun party shooty game, and never been interested in it as like an actual thing I'm going to do on the regular.
The shooting in Halo, to me, and it might just be nostalgia goggles at this point, but the shooting feels good. Like I actively feel like the way they've balanced like controller aim in that game, it's unlike any other shooter except like maybe Call of Duty. But even Call of Duty, I feel like is a lot more twitchy. Like it leans more on kind of like the mouse control versus the stick control. Halo has always felt like when you aim with the stick, you are hitting what you're aiming at. So like I've always loved how the guns felt. And then second to that is the feel. Like when you move in Halo, like you're pretty quick, you're floaty. In the later games, they gave you the ability to like kind of dash around a little bit. Like you can hover in the air when you aim down sights. It's honestly a lot of stuff that Bungie started doing when they moved over to Destiny, and which is what made Destiny feel so good. Mm-hmm. Like they just attribute all those different space abilities to Master Chief. Like Master Chief has like abilities from like all three of the different Destiny classes. And like it just makes him feel really strong on the battlefield. But it's balanced because everybody else has those same abilities. So I've mentioned before how I love games that just make me press a bunch of buttons. Like I have to think and react to the environment by pressing all sorts of things and knowing what to press in the right moment, right? So like when you're seeing the opposite team bearing down at you, throwing grenades, and your reaction is, I gotta dash, I gotta jump, I gotta spin around, I gotta shoot at the head. Like that just feels so satisfying. And like no other shooter kind of hits that like not Destiny, like, well, Destiny felt the same because it was Bungie, but like Halo does, right? So I am desperately trying to recapture that feeling of literally the best online multiplayer shooter experience I've ever had, which was Halo multiplayer. Like I want them to get back to that, where everybody is also like, I want to play this game because it's super fun. Like the vehicle combat is super fun. Mm-hmm. Like we were playing Battlefield the other day, and like riding around those vehicles and getting shot by those vehicles, none of that was actually fun. Like, like it looks cool to see other people doing it, but like, yeah, it's a little too complicated and technical, and like it's not as fun as Halo makes it feel like you're playing with toys, and you have like a level of control over all that stuff that you just don't have in any other game. So like that's what I want, and that's what that looked like, honestly. Like Halo Infinite's multiplayer looks fun as shit.
Yeah, it looks like a return to form.
Yeah,
'cause I agree. Like that era of like, you know, like late Bungie Halo. So not even late, but like Halo 2, 3, and then you know, Reach and ODST. I think that had some. I don't think there's ever been like a Call of Duty or a Battlefield game that has ever felt as good to play in my mind as those games. And I think the only shooter probably that feels better in my mind is like Titanfall 2, and that's like a completely different beast.
Yeah, like that is a different set of skills, but it's very similar in the sense that, you know, tons of movement options and whatnot. But it's still, I feel, like that still feels like it has the soul of a PC shooter. Whereas, like, you play that on PC, then you can really get the most out of it. Like Halo has never felt like it needed a mouse and keyboard for you to like be really good at Halo.
Yeah, completely agree. And I just like seeing, I don't know, it's like a bit of nostalgia in my mind too, because I put hundreds of hours into, you know, Halos 1 through ODST and Reach. But yeah, I don't know, I'd be excited to see it be good again, like to like really like be held in the high regard as you know, the modern shooters are. And it'll just be interesting to see, you know, this year we'll have that, and we'll have you know, Battlefield 2042 and Call of Duty Vanguard, and those will all be going up against stuff like Warzone and Fortnite and PUBG, and then all of these asymmetrical, you know, Back for Blood kinds of games, and Rainbow Six Quarantine and Evil Dead game, and like it just seems like we're in the middle of a weird deluge of multiplayer action shooter options, and Halo is just one I want to succeed. Just, I don't know, based on nostalgia alone, I guess. Yeah,
like hasn't Microsoft put in the work, guys? Let them get their big victory lap in, you know, a super popular mainline first party title releasing and being successful, right? Like they've earned it.
I just hope it's just make it good. Just
make it good.
That's all I need. Yeah, easy peasy. So
those are some of my highlights. But I want to say I was actually very disappointed in the Smash reveal. Like, I very much suspected that the second to last character would be like a really big deal. I was also thinking that they would maybe have a third Fighter's Pass, but you know, they haven't announced that. There's still a chance that they may do that, like when they announced the last one. But like, I knew it would have been third party, but I just didn't see another character from a 2D fighter. like the 2D fighting community doesn't like Smash. Like they don't treat it like it's one of them, right? So
Yeah.
I find it weird that they're kind of like coveting them in a way by saying like, hey, look at Ryu and Ken. Those are from the fighters that you like. Look at Terry Bogard. He's from a fighter that you like. Look at Kazuya. He's from a fighter that you like.
Yeah.
Like, F those guys. Like, give me a character who would give you like a big internet-wide fanfare. Like, oh, this character is in Smash. People who don't care about Smash would want to play that character because of that character.
Yeah.
Like, Kazuya doesn't do that.
I agree. Kazuya does do that, and I'm like, brawler, cool, fine. I'm not like, I wanted other characters. Kazuya doesn't seem that much fun. Like, maybe it will be. I'll try him. Could be cool. I kind of figured it would be from Tekken, though. I legitimately thought, and I don't know the Smash World drama between it and other games. This is completely outsider. So, like, I didn't even know all that. But, like, it's made with Namco. Like,
Yeah.
Tekken was going to be in there.
I mean,
Like, that's an inevitability. There could have had way more fun characters, though. Like, they have a freaking raptor and boxing kangaroo. They have...
They should have put Kuma in there, just a giant bear. Some bear rolling around.
They could use Kuma or Panda.
Yeah,
They could,
yeah.
Isn't Banjo a
could've done-
giant bear?
Huh?
Banjo from Banjo Kazooie. Is he a bear?
Yeah,
He's
he
a
is a bear.
regular-sized bear.
No, he's a bear. He's a regular sized anthropomorphic bear.
Yeah. Where Kuma and Panda are just bears.
They're just
Yeah, they're just
actual
bears.
Wildlife
Yeah.
bears. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Who knows martial arts?
But yeah, like, even like True Ogre or like Mokujin, that would have been fun. Something that just had like a weird suite of powers. It feels like, I mean, I figured it was going to be Tekken, but it also, or what's the other Namco one? Soul Calibur? Are they Namco?
That is Namco.
Yeah. And Link was in Soul Calibur too for GameCube.
Yeah.
That's true. Yeah, I'm a bigger fan of Soul Calibur than Tekken, but still, I those characters fight. Like, that's what they do.
Yeah.
Like, give me someone who has a suite of moves, and now they're using that suite of moves to fight other characters. Like, make it interesting.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. But I was not surprised.
I feel like it puts a lot of pressure on the final character. Like,
Yeah. It has to be something that
definitely.
really just blows your minds. And, like, it's getting hard to blow our minds because, one, no one can ever predict what the next character is. Like, I don't think anyone has ever been, like, dead on, like, oh, it's going to be this character. Especially, like, when you get, like, the conspiracy theories and people, like, try to dig in for, like, information. I don't think they've ever, like, broken the actual character without an actual leak or something like that. But even most of the leaks that have come out have been proven to be false because, like, Nintendo just doesn't let that stuff slip for some reason.
Yeah, also, like, people were, like, predicting Banjo for, like, 3 Smash games. So when he finally came, it was like, well, okay, you didn't... that was just kind of, like, an assumption at some point, maybe. Yeah.
Like, they wanted him in there. Like, people were saying Master Chief, which...
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
That's the kind of thing that would have broke the internet. But I still kind of want a character who's a little more interesting than that. But I don't know.
What about Mr. Chief? Master Chief's father.
Mr. Chief was my dad's name.
Please call me Master.
The last one's definitely going to be first party Nintendo. I'd put money on that.
Who's left? Who's left?
Like,
Another sword boy?
I mean, they got more.
it'll be a Knife Boy.
Fire Emblem has a lot of sword boys. They have some knife boys, a couple bow boys.
Yeah, I don't. It's too hard to guess. So I might as well just say what I want, and if it has to be first party, I wanted Wolf Link from Twilight Princess. But that's too specific. Like, to be the final one. Like, so if we did get that, give us a third fighter pass, because the last one would have to be like, oh, Doug Bowser, or no, it would be
Bowser.
It would be Satoru Iwata as a me, like, to pay reverence to him or something.
Oh, that'd be pretty cute.
But yeah, it's too hard to guess. So I'll just wait to be disappointed, because, like, I don't think they can really. No, if I go into it with the disappointment, then I can be pleasantly surprised when they actually do something that I like. So that's how I'm gonna play this one. But
I'm having this worry that it's just going to be the dude from Fortnite, Troy Baker voices. Jonesy or something.
Yeah.
It's like the most popular character on the planet. That's kind of like Minecraft guy, where I'm like, I'm not into Minecraft, but I understand. Like,
But Minecraft Steve actually was like dope. Like he came in the game and like his moveset matches him and fits him in such a way that's like, yo, this is a fun, cool, annoying character in the way all the other characters are.
Yeah.
Like what the hell is Jonesy other than basically a silent protagonist who they had to give a voice to?
I don't know. Does he build things throughout the Fortnite? I don't play Fortnite, so I don't know what happens in that game.
Lampy saying Joanna Dark. That'd be cool.
That'd be great.
But that's they had a Perfect Dark reference in Smash Forever. Like the remote mine was straight out of Perfect Dark back in the day.
Yeah.
A gym leader would be cool if they have a gym leader.
Put Crunch Bandicoot in there. Get Crunch in there.
Crunch.
Give me Crunch Bandicoot. Get him in there. Get him spinning, grabbing his apple crates, and causing all sorts of mischief. Putting on that cultural appropriation mask of his, which I'm not a fan of.
Also, those John Cena shorts he wears.
Yeah, those. I was hoping that they would put a car in the game.
Just
like in Sega All-Star Fighters?
Yeah, exactly. Just let me be a car.
The Enter the Matrix game had like a secret 2D fighter mode in it, and in that, you could fight as just a car. Like a car would stand on its back rear tires and like it would punch you with its front tires. It was real stupid.
I think the Matrix sequels would have been better off if they would have included more car fights, where one car fights another car.
When has that ever been bad?
Never is the answer.
There's 9 Fast and Furious movies, and those movies are just about cars fighting and dating, and I think
Ace Sabalucci's trying to get banned. He suggested Five Nights at Freddy as a Smash character.
It's just a character that does like jump scares on the screen every once in a while.
Yeah.
Real awful.
So you just wait around and then at some point appear closer to the other fighters? I'm curious how that would work.
Mechanically?
Yeah.
All right, so any other highlights or lowlights from this past E3 before we wrap things up? Anything that stood out?
With time, I've forgotten about the lowlights. I know in the moment there were some lowlights, but I feel like after 2 weeks, we absolutely
like most of them were like just the entirety of a conference itself. I feel like, right? Like
like the Coach Media one.
The Coach Media one was just all around bad.
Yeah,
because
Capcom
refused to show
redoing everything they did. Yeah,
Capcom doing a Capcom, which is like redoing all the bosses.
Yeah, Square announcing the pixel perfect Final Fantasy 1 through 6 for mobile.
Yeah, that really upset you. I remember.
That was such a high followed by such a low. But no, I think there's a lot of big stuff that looks cool. I'm excited to play Forza 5 this fall.
Yes, Forza 5 looks fun.
The Mario Rabbids game looked cool. I'm a big fan of Death Stranding, so Death Stranding Director's Cut seems super neat. And then smaller games like Somerville, which was the new game by the Playdead folks, and then pretty much everything Jesse was mentioning from Devolver or the Day of the Devs indie stream. It's just I think a lot of AAA stuff has gotten kicked down the road a little bit, understandably, and won't be stuff that was supposed to be this fall won't be till next year, and some next year stuff won't be till 2023. But I think there's a lot of cool smaller games to tide us over in the meantime.
Absolutely.
True.
Mm-hmm. It's hard for everybody. It's easy to like try and dunk on E3 this year because a lot of it was disappointing. But I think they were trying to do the best they could with what was happening. And like, I am glad to see, I wish they would have played it up more, but I'm glad to see a lot more indie stuff picking up that slack.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because I love indie stuff.
Yeah, because ostensibly, like they would have probably already been working from home and didn't have to do like a big shift. So like this is their time to shine, absolutely. Right? Like fill those gaps.
Yeah, when you looked at, I remember they were making a big deal of the team that made the 2 Ori games, Ori and the Will of the Wisps and the Blind Forest, how they were a 24-hour studio because they all just lived in different countries, and so they would like sort of like pass the baton every time one of them would finish a shift and everything, and like those games were made by people who were never in the same room as each other. So yeah, I feel like indie games were able to adapt to it, like funny enough, much quicker than like a 500-person team at Ubisoft making the Avatar game or whatever.
Or making Beyond Good and Evil 2, which we will likely never see again.
Are they making it? Yeah.
Man. I can't believe there was. I was like, if they don't show anything, that game is not coming out.
Yeah.
And they didn't even mention it.
No.
Anything. So that's okay. This E3 felt more like a bye year. And I guess that's a little more weird because the last E3 felt like E3 was dead. Like the last E3 was like, we're not going to do this ever again. Everyone's just going to go their own separate ways. But they did give it a shot, and it did seem like everyone tried to do the best they could, which is admirable. And I'm actually excited for an E3 next year that sort of returns to form. Like maybe we'll be able to go to a physical location again. I don't know. It might happen.
Yeah.
I don't know. We can only hope.
And I mean, one thing about physical E3 is that a lot of like the like that Coach Media presentation, how it was 2 hours and really boring, that would be a thing that just the press would see and then be able to consolidate it into an interesting package for everyone else to be able to consume.
Because
instead
their
of just
gameplay
forcing
trailers and stuff, did those ever like release to the internet? The stuff that you guys that Nick had seen?
Described them to us. And that was my favorite part of the stream. How Nick kept saying, "Don't worry, tons of gameplay coming."
Nick,
just nothing.
Nick was so sure. Nick was promising. Like, don't worry, none of this is. They've got tons of stuff to show. Don't worry, trust me.
Yeah.
Never trust Nick. This
funny.
is the lesson. This is the lesson to take.
Will get shot in the head.
If we learn,
he will tell you the bathroom's clear, and then a person will shoot you in the head.
Yeah, it's that Calandra jazz.
Okay, so I think that pretty much wraps up today's show. Jesse, where can people find you if they're looking for stuff you've done on the internet? The good stuff, not the bad stuff.
The good.
Keep that stuff.
Oh, no.
They can find me. I stream on my Twitch, twitch.tv/RexConJesse. I'll be doing that tomorrow, doing whatever I want. Usually I do behind schedule during the day, the game I'm playing for that, but I'm further along in games than the editing process because stuff got delayed on the other end, so I have 2 games in the bag that I get to work on. And then you can check out stuff on The Escapist. I'll be doing some videos on my channel, which is Jesse Galena at YouTube. And you can check out, if you like tabletop RPG stuff, look at my itch page, which is itch.io/RexConJesse. And I have a website. It's also RexConJesse.com.
I think
if I'm on it, it's RexConJesse.
Can
we join your Google Plus Inner Circle?
Yeah, you can join my Google Plus Inner Circle. So you know what parties I'm going to.
Oh, no. His parents are going as well. Oh.
My bad, guys. So sorry. My computer had a little bit of a heart attack.
Hey, it happens.
Yours has a heart?
Yeah, my computer is a cursed object.
Oh, my God.
Look, we're back in a little corner. Oh, this is nice.
There you go. We'll just resize it for everybody. Yeah, there you go.
There we are.
My bad. Marty was in the middle of letting everyone know where they could find his stuff. You can just do that over, because...
You can follow me at McBiggity. Escape the Galaxy is our Star Wars show. It's on the Escapist YouTube channel. Check it out. We talked about a bunch of episodes of The Bad Batch this week. And then go to slumberland.com for all your mattress needs. So I keep getting ads for them. And maybe if you buy a mattress, they'll stop serving me those ads.
You're playing into their hand. You just gave them free publicity.
Yeah. I just want them to go away. I just want them to leave my family alone. It's
just going to spread to all your friends and family.
Yeah. No. Is it like The Ring?
It's like
if you get the Slumberland ad, then 10 days later you'll get a new mattress. That doesn't sound too bad.
Oh crap!
I think they just take your mattress in 10 days.
Oh
you have no mattress, and now you have to go to Slumberland if you don't have a bed.
Genius.
Oh crap! Sorry about the little technical hiccup there. I don't know what that was. My computer had just a quick conniption, but you can find me at SimGears9. You're watching my Twitch right now. Follow me on Twitter to see what else I be doing during the days. Coming up next, though, will be Super Smash Sunday, which is on the Open Party Twitch channel. We play Smash for all the bragging rights. We get real sweaty over there, so come through. It's a good time. I'm trying to think if there's anything else to let you guys know about. Just follow me on Twitter. I do stuff on The Escapist with these two gentlemen. Thanks to these two gentlemen for joining me on today's show. We've been gone for a little while, but we'll be back on a weekly basis going forward, unless there's some weird holiday or other situation. But I'll let you know as that comes up. But thank you everybody in chat for coming back and hanging out with us. That's going to do it for episode 30. Be well. Bye. See you later. Take care.
Thanks, chat.
Everybody.